This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Osprey Ultralight Roll Organizer, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. If you find this video helpful, make sure you subscribe so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. Let's dive in. So the main material we have on the exterior here is a 40D nylon ripstop. You can see the ripstop texture there. Overall, very happy with this material. It adds a little bit of water resistance, so if something spills or something like that, it just adds that little layer. Obviously there is, this thing rolls to close, so there is a way for water to get inside, so it's by no means waterproof or even really water resistant, but this material does a great job. On the accent here, we have a nice little pop of color, and that's a 210D nylon double diamond ripstop, so it adds a bit of durability, but it doesn't move as well as the main pack material, but obviously it moves enough to where you can roll this thing up. So this thing is pretty small. It kind of fits into the palm of your hand and slides into a pack nicely. It fits really nicely in a glove box, so if you're looking for something to go in your glove box, it's a good size for that. And on the exterior, this is actually kind of an interior feature, but they kind of poke out onto the exterior. We have these little tabs here, one on this side and then one on this side, which help open one of the zippers on the interior, which we'll get to. But if you want to, you can throw a carabiner on there and hook that to something, or on the strap here, just open that up and then loop that through and attach it, and you have kind of like a little makeshift loop on the exterior. We've got a YKK buckle there, which just basically doesn't get in your way. It's very small and low profile, which I dig, but it does its job nicely. It's really snappy, and it has not yet come open when I didn't want it to. And when you want to open this thing, you just open that and you either unfold it, but the way that I like to do it is kind of open it, grab onto that, and then like let go, or like throw it down kind of like that. It's very fun, but if you want to obviously treat your gear a little bit nicer, you can just unfold it nicely. So this time I'll open it a little bit more nicely, just unfolds like that. And before we dive into these different sections here, I just want to talk about this little hook. It hides away underneath here. And it's just a small little hook. It doesn't have a clip or anything like that, so you can't really latch it onto anything. But, and as you can see, just compared to my hand there, it's not a huge hook, so if you have like a big rod, it won't fit on top of there. But for the most part, I was always able to figure out where to hang this when I needed to hang it somewhere. And it does just hide away when you're ready to roll it or if you're not using it. And something that I thought was interesting is there is a ton of space back here. That goes down like a really long way. And I'm not sure if that was like purposeful, or I guess you could like stow something back there, but just a little, you know, and you can kind of see the backside of that material there to see you know, the durability that it does offer on this exterior. But moving into the different compartments here, we have 4 different sections, and they all have YKK zippers, and they all perform well. They're really easy to open and close. These top 3 sections just have a little paracord-like material with a knot on the end. And then this bottom bigger section has, again, a paracord-like material, but then a little plastic on there, because it is a little bit harder to open this section. And then these are these 2 tabs that we talked about on the exterior that you could put a carabiner on, but these help to open and close. You just grab onto there nice and easily. So these top 2 sections are very similar. They have this little gusset, which as you can see is kind of unfolding right now. But when you have nothing inside these pockets, it just kind of sits flat like that, as you can see. But then when you stuff gear inside there, it puffs out, so you can fit more stuff inside of there, which I think is a neat design, and that looks kind of neat as well. But in this top pocket, we have this little mirror, and it attaches with a hook and loop fastener, so you can just pull it off. And it is made of plastic, which is nice because it's light and it's not going to break. But so if you're doing a super micro adjustment, like if you get really close for shaving or putting makeup on, it does a good job. But if you kind of, I'm not sure if I can do this very easily. It kind of looks like a funhouse mirror because it is made of plastic and it bends. You can see I'm giving it a little bit of bend there. And it just kind of makes you look a little weird if you try to use it as like a full face mirror. It is nice to have the option, and you can get a good idea of what you do look like, but it's a little funky, especially the first time that you look at it, but nice to be able to put it in there. And if you don't need it for a trip or you want to save some space, you can take it out, which is ideal. Below that, this pocket is a little bit bigger, so this is where I put like my deodorant and this lotion and stuff like that. It just has a little bit more space, and then again with that gusset, you get even more space to work with. So between these 2 pockets, you can fit quite a bit of stuff, but it is important to note that this has to roll to be effective. So if you put too much stuff in any one of these pockets, or if you put big stuff in here and big stuff in here, 2 sections next to each other with a bunch of big stuff, it can be hard to roll it. I didn't really run into that a ton, but it's just important to note that before you make a purchase. On this third section here, we have this stretchy orange mesh, and I found this was a perfect spot for a toothbrush, if you have a travel toothbrush like this. And then on this side, a travel toothpaste. They fit in there really nicely, and they also are really good for something like chapstick, or if you have a small hairbrush like this one. Or you can also put like Q-tips fit inside there. If you have like the longer Q-tips, they might just barely not fit, but a standard size Q-tip, or at least a travel Q-tip, is going to fit inside there. And this is mesh, it stretches really nicely, and it goes down further than you think it does because it kind of gets covered up a little bit by this pocket, but it goes down a pretty long way. So you can fit a surprising amount of gear in here. But again, this is right on a fold because it folds like that. So more rigid items don't do super well there because it's just right on that fold. And then when you open this pocket up, again, you have that little tab to help you. This is the only pocket that really has a bit of resistance from liquids and small things like hairs and stuff like that, because it is completely covered in that nylon ripstop. So in there right now, I just have a Eagle Creek silicone tube to show that you can fit a couple of these in there for sure. And then also I put these wilderness wipes in there because sometimes you get like a little bit of residue on the bottom and you don't want that to leak all over the rest of your stuff. A pack of tissues just to kind of fill the space a little bit, and then this wall razor. And I like putting the razor in there. It does fit nicely in other places, but if there are like leftover hairs you had to leave in a hurry, you don't want the hairs to get everywhere, and especially because this is a roll top, it'll just kind of, they could get out of the bag and into your stuff. But if you put them in here, they're gonna be contained, and then when you get home, you can clean that out with just like a wet rag and it'll all wash out. But you do have a ton of different options for space inside of this thing, and you can kind of figure out what works best for you to go in each space. So there you have it, the Osprey Ultralight Roll Organizer. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.